Mema atiefo ne ahwefo nyina akwa abasabre de ba channel so ha eye nimde news nsɛm a ɛkɔ so my Ghana mu gedi ka gedi hwɛ yɛ tena sese ya na kyerɛ sɛ nkyerɛmu no na yɛde ba sabre nsɛm no ɛdɔso na ɛkɔ so ɛwɔ my Ghana mu na sabre de abɛtɔ yɛ apono so no ɛno ɛmu nkyerɛmu na yɛtimi de brɛ mu de na ɛkɔ de na ɛba de na esie ɛwɔ my Ghana mu gyebrɛ ne nyinaa no yɛmmɔnra nsɛm na sɛ de nsɛm ne sitie no yɛmfa nkyerɛmu no ɛmfa mmarama wɔmfi sɛ wohwɛ ne nyinaa no na o subscribe o like o comment na o share ama afoforɔ nso nsa atimi akabina atimi aboa na kyerɛ sɛ biribiara nso atimi akɔhyɛnkɔ nsɛm no mu ne yɛhwɛ sɛ de nsɛm no ɛsitie.
In Bissue OSP legal battle, we know that the OSP has been fighting Charles Bissue, I don't know what for, about some videotape that Anas did. Of course, you know that Kissi Agyebeng used to be lawyer for Anas, their bosom friends, their partners, etc., etc. And this is what the story says. The Supreme Court, and incidentally, the lawyer who argued this case successfully, the same lawyer on my seat now, so don't worry, there's a lot that we're going to hear tonight. The Supreme Court has overturned a High Court ruling that dismissed an application filed by the former secretary to the Interministerial Committee Against Illegal Mining, Charles Bissue, at the Human Rights Division of the High Court. Charles application there that was dismissed. Let's see. The application was filed against the Office of the Special Prosecutor in relation to the handling of criminal complaints against him. The case stems from allegations of corruption and related offenses against Charles Bissue following the airing of an investigative documentary by journalist Nas. Subsequent to the airing of the documentary, the OSP declared Bissue a wanted person. In response, Bissue secured an injunction from the courts to prevent the OSP from enforcing the arrest. In June 2023, he filed a case at the Human Rights Court accusing the OSP of unlawfully securing the arrest warrant. The OSP, however, denied the existence of any such arrest warrant and argued that it did not require judicial authorization to arrest Bissue. The Kissi District Court, which Bissue claimed had issued the alleged warrant, also denied ever granting such an order. This position was supported by the Attorney General, who represented the District Court. The Attorney General here refers to Dominica Ayini's outfit. Despite this, Bissue's legal team cited a public interview granted by the Special Prosecutor on Joy FM's news file as evidence of the alleged warrant. They argued that the judge should listen to the interview audio before making a determination. However, the judge dismissed the case without reviewing the audio, which to his lawyer was contrary to an earlier indication that it will be conceded. Bissue subsequently filed a judicial review application at the Supreme Court, seeking to quash the High Court's decision and prohibit the presiding judge from continuing to hear the case. According to Bissue's lawyers who are in the studio today, the Supreme Court has now directed the High Court to determine whether the arrest warrant was lawfully obtained. In response to the Supreme Court's ruling, the Office of the Special Prosecutor has indicated that it will now expect to cross-examine Bissue's legal team in court. Speaking to City News after the proceedings, Bissue's lawyer, Agyebeng, emphasized the significance of the case in setting a precedent on the legal authority of the OSP to issue arrest warrants. Meanwhile, in a related development, the criminal court is expected to consider a plea agreement tomorrow between the OSP and Thomas Andiowusu, the second accused in the case titled The Republic versus Charles Bissue and another. So, the OSP went to Supreme Court and he was told that the conversation that was the guy's name, Sami Darko, he talks quite a bit. Sami Darko talks quite a bit. I mean, I don't know how much seasoned lawyer he is, and when he talks, I don't know whether his constitutional law is sound or not, but that's up to him. And he talks quite a bit, and he talks a whole lot. I mean, he was a journalist. I'm not sure the extent of distinction he got in journalism, but he went to study law, and he talks a lot. So he's the one who has created a problem for Kissi Agyebeng because he went on Joy FM to blab. And the blabbing has created a problem for Kissi Agyebeng, who wanted to say that I didn't get any arrest warrant. And they said, but the guy was on Joy FM, said that there was an arrest warrant that was obtained. And then they played it and said, yes, you got an arrest warrant. The arrest warrant was not properly taken. The High Court should look at it. That's the kinds of things that the OSP does. But now we are moving straight into the OSP's big conversation. Do you have a video of him talking about Ken Oforiatta, and then we can move on? Now, this is the OSP here. This is Kissi Agyebeng flying in this plane to go and interview President Mohammed's brother abroad. He didn't even tell us that he was taking taxpayers' money to fly abroad to interview President Mohammed's brother. Kissi Agyebeng didn't tell us. He took taxpayers' money, your money, my money, 10 cedis, 5 cedis, 20 cedis, 6 cedis, the money that you pay at the top. When the Abaye people go and beat them in Makola, the money they collect, they give it to Kissi Agyebeng to buy air tickets and fly to go and interview President Mohammed's brother. He came back and said, there's no problem with the Airbus. We are happy with that, no problem. President Mohammed is clean. But if you were able to do this for somebody who didn't hold public office, for somebody who didn't know how much money we were going to get from him, you were able to fly abroad to, and he didn't go alone. He went to military, police, and all those things he does. He travels with Ghanaian police, him in New York. You travel with him. I've been on the plane with him so many times. I've seen him in London. He said he won't shake my hand. I didn't mind him. You see him on the plane. You see plenty of soldiers around him. That's how he travels. So he takes your money, my money. He travels with himself, his security, blah, blah, blah. And they all travel. He goes with people who are not supposed to be staff of the OSP, who are staff of the OSP. But their time will come. Their time is coming. It will surely come. They are not staff of the OSP. They are on the OSP list. He travels with them. He pays taxpayers' money. He goes to interview President Mohammed's brother. Well, how did I know? It is in his own report. It is in Kissi Agyebeng's own report. It is there that he traveled to go and see President Mohammed's brother. That is fine. No problem about it. But if you're able to go and fly to see, okay, he's here. The OSP interviewed former President Dramani Mahama on 5th January 2024 in Accra. On its own, OSP located and interviewed Samuel Adam Foster, Philip Sean Middlemis, Leanne Sarah Davis, and Sarah Fenel outside Ghana in March 2024 in the presence of their counsel. You flew out, this is OSP's report, 5.18. You flew out to go and interview Samuel Adam Mahama. This is 8th August 2024, report of investigations into alleged bribery of Ghanaian officials by Airbus. Now, you are investigating bribery of Ghanaian officials by Airbus. You were able to travel to go and interview Samuel Adam Foster. I know him. Samuel, I've met him before. I met him in Accra here. And you were able to go and interview Samuel Adam Foster in London. Samuel Adam Foster, the allegation was that he has participated in some bribery. It's just an allegation. We don't know. You are here telling us that Ken Ofori-Atta has $58 million he sank in the cathedral hole that you are going to collect. So we at least, you've assured us that there's some $58 million to collect from Ken. Can't you take a small fraction of that money to go and interview in America so that you go with your processes? Criminal lawyers tell me today that if you have the documents, you don't need Ken Ofori-Atta. You can go to the court and begin his prosecution. And when you have finished his prosecution, you can get him. When they pronounced Sedina Tamaklo guilty, was she in Ghana? Was Sedina Tamaklo in Ghana? Look at Kissi Agyebeng. Somebody was teaching criminal law. He was teaching criminal law. When you have a personal vendetta against people, you can expose yourself this way. It's terrible. That's not how the republic should be built. Sedina Tamaklo was pronounced guilty here in Accra. She was not here. She is still not here. I saw a picture from a post by Vomao today who was urging the Attorney General that before you do anything, bring Sedina Tamaklo back. I think it's a reasonable post, but it's up to them. Sedina Tamaklo was not in Ghana when she was pronounced guilty. You have been able to take plane to go and interview somebody. You cannot do the same for somebody that you have assured us that our 58 million is with him. I don't know. Lawyer Bafo.
Yes, sir.
The ball is in your court. Where are we on this matter? You have been studying the OSP's issues in Parliament. Where are we on this matter?
Thank you very much for having me. And before we proceed, I want to commend highly the minority in Parliament. They are doing a fantastic work. But for their oversight, a yarn was going to be pulled through their eyes. We wouldn't have seen today that the so-called petrol levy, we now call it P levy or
D levy. Doomsaw levy.
Doomsaw levy. But in fact, Afenyo exposed them. They wanted to quickly move it through the House without a scintilla of information that was actually a tax that was going to be imposed. It was Afenyo that stood up and said, why don't you tell us that this is a levy that we are going to pay on every litre of fuel, 1 cedi?
But it sounds like it's not a lot of money. Until I've now seen posts about comparing Ken Ofori-Atta's 1 cedi on e-levy of 1 cedi on 100 cedis of e-levy. And the petrol thing is what, 12 cedis?
It's 12 cedis.
A liter.
And you are going to...
So if you buy 1 liter, you pay 13 cedis?
You pay 13 cedis.
Okay.
Paul, and the interesting thing is that, today, petrol seems to be down because of the dollar.
Yes.
The strength of the dollar having been weakened. But when it goes up, that is when we are going to feel it.
It may not go up. President Mahama says it will range between 10 and 12.
In the year 2013 or 2014 thereabouts, then Finance Minister Tepe introduced the special petroleum levy, 17.5%. They told us it wasn't too much. But anytime fuel prices went up, that is when we felt it. Without the 17.5%, I'm sure would have paid less. And it's the same thing. As soon as the petrol prices start going up, we'll feel it. And we know that.
So if you buy 1 gallon, which is what? Which is how many liters?
I think is it 10?
No, it's not 10. It's less than 10.
It's less than.
Yeah. It's about 5 or
It's
something
about
like
5,
that.
yes.
Yeah.
So you are going to pay 5 cedis on every...
On 1 gallon.
On 1 gallon. And so if you happen to buy more, can you imagine how much you are paying on every gallon? The impact is wider.
Is the impact going to transfer by drivers onto the people?
Of course. It's going to be transferred by drivers onto people. And it's wider.
But is it true that Ken Ofuriatta was charging 1 cedi on 100 cedis?
I think it was even less. It was supposed to be 1% or so.
Yeah, 1%. So 100 is 1. Yes, 1%.
Yes. And that they said was too harsh. Worst of it, the e-levy, it was not rushed through Parliament in the manner which it is happening today. The bill was only introduced in Parliament today under a certificate of urgency. And as we speak, my colleagues are still there, having to watch the bill go through the motions.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
They're doing first reading, second reading, third reading, all now.
Everything today.
At 10:20, Parliament is sitting.
The very people that accused and lambasted the Akufo-Addo government for wanting to pass the e-levy, even though the e-levy, there was a lot of stakeholder engagement and so on and so forth. This one, there's even no stakeholder engagement.
GPRC, have not been told?
There's no stakeholder engagement. No stakeholder engagement is being done. And this has been done so cleverly, if you observed. The budget came to Parliament not long ago.
Without it.
Subsequently, they have brought it. Nothing stops them. But they know that if they had brought it to Parliament together with the budget, there would have been a lot of rancor. So deliberately, you see how they've paced it. Unfortunately, but they are being exposed.
Well, but it will be passed. They have the majority, they have numbers.
Yes.
It will be passed.
Yes. But, our colleagues in Parliament are doing a fantastic work. The leadership, I commend them. The senior members on our side, motivating all of us from day to day, sharing ideas, giving us tidbits as to how to approach things. So I want to use this opportunity to commend them highly. They are doing a fantastic work. Our numbers haven't proven to be a weakness. So I commend them.
I see. What happened at the Supreme Court this morning? Were you there in person?
So,
or your team was there?
My partner went to argue it. So it's basically this. 2023, if you recall, there was news out. There was news all over the place that the special prosecutor had obtained an arrest warrant for Charles Bissue. I remember Joy News calling me, Evans Mensah calling to interview me on it, and I was surprised because we had been engaging the OSP, through letters that they should give us a little time. Charles Bissue was going to appear at the OSP because there was a domestic emergency, for which reason the time proposed or the date proposed could not be responded to. And so we needed a little time. The OSP said no. The next thing, there was news outbreak all over the place. There were interviews by some persons at the OSP confirming that indeed an arrest warrant had been obtained. Subsequently, we went to court to obtain an injunction saying that it was unlawful even if it exists. Because obviously, if someone obtains an arrest warrant, it's difficult to know which court he obtained it from. But luckily for us, through the news outbreak, we had gotten to know, and then the interviews, that indeed there was some arrest warrant. The OSP followed that with a publication on its news website, like he had done for Ken Ofuriatta, that Charles Bissue had been declared wanted. Following the grant of the injunction, to our surprise, the OSP comes to court and say that there is no arrest warrant. So then it had missed...
What injunction was granted?
An interim injunction to restrain the OSP from enforcing the arrest warrant.
It was granted by High Court.
It was granted by High Court because we produced evidence of media interactions by the OSP confirming the existence of the arrest warrant. The allies of the OSP in the media had run with it on news networks that it existed. In fact, some people even accused me for sounding disrespectful to the court because they thought I had said Charles Bissue would not respond to the arrest warrant by going to the OSP. When, in fact, all I was saying was that if you have obtained an arrest warrant, then enforce it. It's not for him to come to the OSP. My brother, subsequently, the OSP comes to court to say no arrest warrant exists. So if no arrest warrant existed, as a public office, you cannot deceive the public like that. If it didn't exist, how did the news, right, got carried throughout Ghana that there was an arrest warrant? In fact, even if it was not true, what did you do at the time to let people know that it didn't exist? Strangely, the special prosecutor himself appeared on Newsfile, where the host suggested to him that I even hear that there is an arrest warrant. He didn't deny it. Clearly, therefore, there was, people had been made to believe, because you know that you cannot, words of people who hold public office, they cannot be taken for granted. Their actions are very important. And it is it is on that basis that people repose confidence in them. And so when you have made everybody to believe, and now you are saying there's no arrest warrant, the burden was then on us to prove the existence of the warrant. So we put together all the evidence in the public domain, where the OSP, by its conduct, had made the whole of Ghana believe that there was an arrest warrant. At the court said, this is the direction in which I was going to determine this matter. One of it was going to view the video evidence where the OSP and various media houses and elements within the OSP had made the people of Ghana believe that there was an arrest warrant. We are following that, going to make payment for the video evidence to be viewed at the court video conference facility. Subsequent to this, a new judge comes. When the judge came, I raised a preliminary issue. The OSP, because I was the deponent to the affidavit, the OSP wanted me cross-examined. I didn't have a problem. But I said, if you are denying that there is no arrest warrant, and in the light of that, we have a gamut of evidence before this court, then the cross-examination may not be necessary. Let the court go and view, and we make our submissions, because the basis on which we had come to this conclusion is already before the court. The judge then adjourned to rule on that preliminary point. Subsequent to it, there were several adjournments, about 3-4 adjournments. My junior in chambers goes to court, and then the judge says, there's no need to even hear submissions from counsels. He has dismissed our suit.
He didn't look at the video?
He didn't look at the video.
Was it admitted in evidence, though?
It was attached to our affidavit, so it was in evidence. And so the court had said it was going to view it to determine one, admissibility, and subsequently the relevance and the weight that it places.
So it hadn't yet been admitted?
It hadn't yet been.
The High Court judge should have that authority to say that, I will not look at it.
But the court itself had set out how it was going to deal with the matter. And so there was a procedural injunction on the court to deal with it in the manner which he had made all of us believe that he was going to deal with it.
Yeah.
Then what happens? The judge says he has dismissed it. Then we said, don't worry. We climbed up to the Supreme Court and said, 1, it was an error apparent on the face of the record. 2, by setting out the manner in which he was going to deal with the matter, right, he could only deal with it in the same manner unless he had varied it. Otherwise, he doesn't have jurisdiction to proceed.
What did the Supreme Court say?
The Supreme Court agreed with us.
How many judges?
5 judges.
5-0?
4-1.